from the station that's on your side. News 12, first at 5, continues.
Big news for Plant Vogtle and Georgia Power customers. Unit 3 is now online and producing clean energy this evening. Just ahead, how this milestone is not just for Georgia, but the entire country. But first, here's a live look outside of our Beach Island camera. A sunny afternoon for us as we send things over to First Alert Chief Meteorologist Riley Hale. And Riley, clear today, but we're seeing a chance for severe storms tomorrow, you say?
Yeah, well, it looks like...
All right, thanks, Riley. Tens of thousands of people in the CSRA are getting power tonight from Unit 3 at Plant Vogtle. Although it's several years behind schedule and way over budget, this is a major milestone for our country. This is the first newly constructed nuclear unit in the U.S. in decades. With this latest unit coming online, Georgia Power says nuclear power now makes up about 1/4 of its output. Our Taylor Martin is live in our newsroom this evening. And Taylor, what had to happen for us to get to this point here?
Well, it's been a long time coming for Plant Vogtle, and now that Unit 3 is fully operational, it can power 500,000 homes. Delays in the operation of Plant Vogtle date back years from a variety of setbacks. It's also millions of dollars over budget. A little over a year ago, in February of 2022, Georgia Power expected an operational date of March of this year, but delays continued into last month. Last month, Unit 3 had a problem in the system that is used to cool its main electrical generator, adding on to years of delays prolonged by the pandemic. The third reactor is expected to have a 60 to 80-year lifespan. And on News 12 at 6 o'clock, we're getting some of those answers to your questions about what this means for you.
All right, thanks, Taylor, for keeping us updated on that. Well, developing this evening, a fourth person is facing charges in connection to the death of John Belote. His remains were uncovered in a small grave in Windsor, South Carolina earlier this month. Suzanne Boozer was arrested on Friday and charged with accessory after the fact for murder, according to inmate records. She remains in jail with a bond set at $15,000. Boozer joins 3 other suspects charged and arrested in the death of John Belote. Thomas William Gwynn, Donald Britton, and Cody Wooten all face charges in connection to the removal of human remains. A 5th suspect, Michael Dwayne Williams Jr. of Aiken, is still wanted. Richmond County Schools hoping to build 2 entirely new schools. News 12 got a hold of records detailing 25 projects by the school district, including these 2 new schools. One is labeled as New K-5 School Southside for an estimated $31 million, and New Middle School Fort Gordon area West is estimated to cost more than $36 million. All new tonight on News 12 at 6 o'clock, our Craig Allison will have more on these school projects and other planned upgrades. Today, Aiken Technical College's School of Nursing holding a pinning ceremony. This is to recognize its summer graduates as they enter the workforce. Graduates recited the Florence Nightingale Pledge, also known as the Nurse's Oath, then got a pin to signify their commitment to serving others. Dr. Hannah Williams, the Dean of Nursing at Aiken Tech, says that these students are entering a workforce in dire need.
Because we have another set of students who are going to go out into the nursing profession or PCT profession to help meet the shortage that we know in healthcare that we're all facing. I know in both Aiken and Augusta area that almost each hospital or, clinical facility is facing some sort of shortage when it comes to nursing or, professional staff.
And congratulations to all of these graduates, and as Dr. Williams said, they are much needed in that workforce. South Carolina families can get some back-to-school savings soon with the state's annual tax-free weekend coming up. It runs from Friday to Sunday, and certain items are exempt from South Carolina's 6% sales tax and local taxes. Our State House reporter Mary Green has the details.
The South Carolina Department of Revenue says last year shoppers bought more than $26 million worth of tax-free items during the state's tax-free weekend. We asked the experts how to maximize these benefits this year.
If you can, only purchase what you need specifically for that moment, because there's a real possibility that if you don't need it specifically for back to school, it's going to be on sale again for Thanksgiving, Black Friday.
These are some examples of what's exempt. In general, it's items like supplies used for school assignments, electronics, clothing and shoes, and bed and bath items, new
or used. On the flip side, here are some examples of what's not exempt this weekend, including rented clothing and shoes, items used in a business or trade, and items placed on layaway or deferred payment plans. The cost of school supplies has gone up nearly 25% in the last 2 years, according to the Consumer Price Index, and the outlook is mixed on how this could affect American spending this year. The National Retail Federation projects Americans will spend a record $41.5 billion on back-to-school shopping this year, while a survey from Deloitte predicts this spending could decrease for the first time in nearly a decade.
I think it's likely we'll see more spending this year just because prices have gone up. So everything is more expensive, and so that's going to lead to higher total sales volume. But at the same time, because things are more expensive, consumers are really going to be looking for a bargain in a way that they haven't over the last 2 years.
Von Nessen and Watson say the tax-free weekend is enough to add up to some sizable savings, especially when paired up with other discounts at stores. But Watson also cautions that some stores will also raise their prices to make up for any discounts. So with anything else, it pays to do your homework on back-to-school shopping. Reporting Columbia, I'm Mary Green.
And for South Carolinians who'd rather avoid the crowds in stores and shop online, eligible items are still tax-free if purchased online as well. Well, a big event in the world of sports coming to Orangeburg. What this means for football fans coming up next. Riley?
And most of us are staying dry this afternoon, but looking at a little bit better storm chances tomorrow, and some of those could turn severe. We'll have an update on the forecast just after the break.
Coming up on News 12 at 6, you'll hear how the community is coming together to help those in need and why they want to continue doing this in the future.
Local service with a national reach. Let us show you what we can do for you, on air and online. For more information, visit wrdw.com/advertise.
Our First Alert has always given you the edge against severe weather. And now, with our new First Alert radar network, First just got even faster. This is the most advanced weather radar around, filling in the gaps that have plagued our area for years. With up to 10 times the resolution of other local radars and technology that can pinpoint right down to your street. No other station can provide you with this type of enhanced weather coverage. You'll only find it here, putting your family's safety first. With the First Alert Radar Network, First just got faster.
At Kroger, everyone for everyone.
Well, we get ready to enter August. The month has not one, but 2 super full moons for you to look out for. The first is tomorrow night, and the sturgeon moon will reach peak illumination tomorrow. Then on August 30th, the blue moon will appear. Both are super moons, which means that they'll seem larger and brighter than usual. And Riley, I know we have some weather moving into the area tomorrow. Will we even be able to see this?
He's in the forecast Wednesday through Friday, but rain chances do look to be pretty decent Thursday and Friday to end off the work week.
All right, thanks, Riley. 6 months ago, the Georgia High School Association announced a 3-year deal that would bring football state championships to the Mercedes-Benz Dome. The South Carolina High School League is now following suit. This season, the league will host all 5 state finals at South Carolina State. As Alyssa Lyons tells us, there's more than just a title at risk.
The South Carolina High School League is moving the game, the one every football team works for and every fan hopes to buy a ticket to.
I look at it, we'll go anywhere. We'll play on I-20, we'll go to Dillon, we'll go to Hilton Head, we'll go to Seneca, get a state championship game. We'll go to any part of the state, doesn't matter where we play the game. We just want to get there.
There is now here at South Carolina State, home of the Bulldogs.
It's a bigger venue than Benedict. South Carolina State hosted the 1A games back in the early 2000s when they had 2 championships and things were good then.
Before all games were played at Benedict, some finals were played at Williams-Brice Stadium, and it cost as good as it looked.
Unfortunately, if you play in a big venue like that and you don't make enough money to cover the cost, the schools have to come out of pocket to play in the state championship games. In South Carolina, where they've had it at Williams-Brice, the security is the largest cost there, and it costs way more than the ticket sales.
Smith is also a board member for the South Carolina Football Coaches Association. State games are more than just bragging rights.
I can tell you this, in 2019, Ridge Spring played the state championship and Barnwell both played the state championship. My last 2 stops, I was there in 2019. Both schools got checks for about $15,000 back from that game.
Sometimes winning just comes at a cost. Alyssa Lyons on your side.
Now, the town will also play host to the Dixie Youth Baseball World Series next summer. Teams from 11 Southeast states will make their way to Orangeburg Recreation Park next July.
What's the difference between a Roku, Amazon Fire Stick, Google Chromecast, and Apple TV? It's a great question. I'm Jamie Tucker. Coming up, we're going to find out which one is right for you. Give us a call. All night.
Well, chances are you have a smart TV, and those televisions already support streaming services, but if you want more options, you might want to get a streaming device. Our consumer tech reporter, Jamie Tucker, takes a look at all of them to help you decide.
So what is the best streaming device? Roku, Fire Stick, Chromecast, or Apple TV? The answer is different for different people. I've used all of them, and here's what you need to know before you pick one.
If cost is important, Apple TV is out at $129. The rest are around $30 for standard HD. Streaming devices that display 4K are around $50. Best for Amazon users, Amazon Fire Stick. The interface is easy to use, but Amazon Prime Video content is front and center. While you can watch Netflix and Hulu and other services, you'll need to dive a little deeper into the menu. A Roku offers multiple devices that plug into the TV. Some sit beside it. Roku also has the Stream Bar, a solid speaker to enhance audio, and its streaming player is built in. The interface is simple, but isn't great. Rather than seeing titles and suggestions, you choose which channel to browse. So it takes some time switching from one service to the other. But the Roku has a wider selection of channels and services. It has its own free Roku channel. Google has its Chromecast with Google TV. This one is best if you just want to turn on the television and see everything that's available. The interface is intuitive, displaying on the home screen shows and movies you'll probably like based on what you watched before.
But I suggest you pick one, and here's why. All of these devices gather and share your information with other companies. So by picking just one brand for all of your TVs, you're limiting the number of companies getting access to your information. That's What the Tech. I'm Jamie Tucker.
In North Augusta, the city is changing the way it collects recyclable materials. Starting today, sanitation crews are delivering new 18-gallon recycling totes to each household. Before today, residents used an all-in-one type of system where everything went into one roll cart. The first week of curbside recycling will start August 14th and will run every other week. Officials say it could take up to a couple of weeks for all the households to get their totes, so don't worry if you don't get yours or you haven't gotten yours quite yet. Well, the defending Class 2A state champions Thompson Bulldogs are hard at work preparing to get everyone's best shot this season. News 12 Sports Director Dan Booth stopped by practice to see how the Bulldogs are keeping that state championship hunger. Dan.
The Thompson Bulldogs are coming off their first state championship in 20 years, and if I learned anything from covering last year's title run, that winning mentality isn't going to be fading away anytime soon. Going on a long playoff run is valuable experience for all the returning players, especially those who are stepping into bigger or even different roles this year. From quarterback to running back to linebacker to the offensive line, the Bulldogs have a lot of moving pieces, but finding that hunger, that motivation, and that drive after winning it all is something head coach Michael Youngblood has been establishing with this group since day one.
You're the target now. Everybody want to beat you because you're the defending state champs. And every time you get on the field, everybody wants a piece of you. You make it to the mountaintop, but do you want to stay there? And that's the first question I asked our kids when we came back. Do you want to do this again? Because if you don't, let me know so I'll know how to coach you.
The Thompson Bulldogs will start off their state championship defense on the road at Burke County. The Bears are the only team that found a way to beat the Bulldogs last season.
All right, thanks for that, Dan. It looks like for the rest of the week, we are going to say goodbye to heat index values over 100. Looks like we'll stay below 100 on the heat index for the rest of the week. Now look at that 7-day coming up.
As Savannah Medicare Specialist, we proudly serve Georgia and South Carolina. For a commitment-free consultation, please give us a call or visit our website, ru64.com.
Tony, never took you for a mariachi guy.
Really not a huge fan, but seems to be all of us do these days. or u64.com.
Who are you talking to?
Well, Chick-fil-A is taking on a new look in Atlanta. The Atlanta-based chain is planning to open 2 restaurants that aim to cut down on wait times, as if you have to wait that long in line anyways. But as you can see from this rendering, the drive-thru will go under the second-story main restaurant. Chick-fil-A says that there will be options to order with a person or through their app. It hopes to open these restaurants next year. And Chick-fil-A just, continues to amaze all of us at this point with their fast.
They are trendsetters in that industry.
That looks like an
that looks
office
pretty
building.
cool.
That's
It
pretty
really
cool.
does. But the main dining's in the upstairs portion, so do you think you have to walk upstairs or an elevator takes you?
I was just gonna say there's a little elevator and maybe even like a food elevator or something like that. Something crazy that we've never seen before in fast food.
I don't
It's gonna
think
come out of this.
Yeah, I've never seen an elevator in a fast food restaurant, so that would be a first. And I think that's worth heading to Atlanta to
I
check
think so
out.
too.
Just to see how fast it really is, because already pretty fast with that Chick-fil-A line. Hey, a beautiful view outside of SRP Park. You can see some blue sky overhead, but in the distance, you can kind of see these towering cumulus clouds. So I would imagine most of us do look dry this evening, but we'll look at First Alert Radar Network. We can see that there are a few of these tiny little storms that are popping up. I would imagine we kind of see that type